What do you know about the plan of Peter Obi to fix Nigeria? What do you know about it? As a Nigerian, I'm sure you know or you have heard that Peter Obi, his plan is based on or aimed at moving Nigeria away from consumption to production. But what does this mean? Do you know what this plan is? For us as Nigerians, it doesn't matter what we do if the end result is not taking Nigeria away from consumption and putting Nigeria on the path of production. Nigeria can never work. And that is why it is very, very important that we as Nigerians understand this plan that Peter Obi has to fix Nigeria. Why this statement is very critical, why it is very, very important to move Nigerians away from consumption into production. We need to understand it. Many of us have different agitations that is dividing us and are providing a platform to stop this progress of consumption that we are making. The only progress we are making in Nigeria right now is a progress in the direction of consumption. On a daily basis, we begin to consume and consume more. On a daily basis, we continue to consume and consume more and more of what we have, of what we, how do I say it now? Consume what we import. Let's just leave it at that for now. We begin to export, we continue to export what we have and import. No, we export what we don't have. How do I even say it now? I'll come back to it. There's a point I'm trying to make with that. But let's just know that the more we continue in the path of consumption, the worse things we get for us. Now, there are different groups of persons in Nigeria that are pushing for different things as solution to the problem of Nigeria. Some people are asking for electoral reforms as the starting point for a better Nigeria. Are they right? Are they wrong? They are not wrong. They are right. Some people are asking for secession. They say divide Nigeria and save lives. They want their Biafra or IPOB or Biafra Republic. Some want their Oduduwa Republic. Some even want their Arewa nation. So, this group of persons, for them, divide Nigeria and we are good. Another group of persons believe that to fix Nigeria, all you need to do is give us a new constitution, a constitutional conference. In fact, on this topic of constitution, there are two groups. There are those that believe that, okay, fine, give us a new constitution. And there are those that believe that what we need is a constitutional force majeure. So, are they right? Are they wrong? I would say they are right. Yes, give us a new constitution or do a constitutional force majeure. That's their own. There is another group of persons who believe in regionalization. Different groups wanting different things. But if you look at it, at the end of the day, the goal of these different groups and their different approaches is the same. Better life for their people. Better life for Nigerians as we have us today. That is it. But the problem is this. How do you move Nigeria from where it is now in the direction of any of the solutions that each of these groups proffer? How do you get Nigeria right now to do a referendum to determine who wants to stay or who does not want to stay? You say do a referendum. Who has the power to declare referendum? It is the people in charge of the government of Nigeria right now. Will they do it? Are they willing to do it? I don't see them doing it. They are not willing to do it because it is not in their own selfish, personal, or self-interest to do it. They are benefiting from the corruption in the system right now. So they won't do it. So how do we then get the referendum? Resorting to violence? No. Will that work? No. We'll continue to talk and expect that the people who are benefiting from the corruption will someday, somehow, just say, do referendum. No. If we want that, if we desire that, if that is the goal, what we need to do is to remove the people that are in charge of the system right now. And we cannot do it through violent means. We can only do it through peaceful means. The same thing goes for those who say the problem is corruption. The corruption in the system is not because of the system. It is because of the people that are in charge of the system. It is because a group of persons that I would describe as thieves has captured the Nigerian state. So they call it state capture. Unfortunately, many of us do not understand this state capture. So we still continue to drive and say we are fighting corruption. Meanwhile, what we should do is to remove the corrupt people that are in charge of the system, the corrupt people that have captured the Nigerian state. That's what we need to do. That's what we need to do. There is no amount of exposure of corruption that takes place. There is no amount of exposure of individuals that are corrupt that will stop the corruption from continuing, or that will stop the state capture of the Nigerian state by corrupt individuals. The more a very dark man exposes people like a Bobrisky, the more others like that continue to thrive. The more a Brekete family or an ordinary Ahmed Issa continues to expose one corruption, one injustice here and there, the more thousands of such cases continue to thrive, continue to go on without notice. So, if we want a solution to these problems, the problem of injustice, the problem of inequity, the problem of corruption, it is not this this palliatives approach that will fix it. It is to change the people that are in charge of the system, those that have captured the Nigerian state. And there's a solution for it. We'll come to that very shortly. But let's look at those who think that the problem is secession, and that for Nigeria to be fixed, just divide it and save lives. If you divide Nigeria into 5 or 6 countries right now, if you divide it into 100 countries right now, each of the countries will still have a problem. Because you see, these people that have captured the Nigerian state, they come from all the regions. They form a group. When it comes to looting and plundering the country, they don't know tribes, they don't know religion, they don't know section, they don't know regions. They are together in their collective target of looting the country. So even if you divide Nigeria right now into 100 different countries, it still will not fix the problem. Those who have captured the state will still continue to capture the state, and the general population will continue to suffer the same things they are suffering now, if not even worse. In fact, you will find that a lot of the persons that are pushing for this division and secession will actually do a lot worse than the current state captors are doing. Because if you dig down, you will find out that their intentions is not solely to make life better for the people. The intention is for they themselves to become the captors of the state. So we need to be careful. Division or dividing or secession is not the way forward. It's not the solution. The solution is way simpler, but we have to understand what the problem is before we come to the solution. So for those who think that it is true federalism that we need, who will give you that true federalism? The same people that have captured the state? Is it in their interest for them to lose their grip on the state? They don't want to lose the grip. They want to continue to hold the state captive And in order for them to do that, they will not enact any laws that will free Nigeria from their grips. So, no matter how you look at it, constitutional force majeure, secessionism, or anti-Fulanization, or resource control, all of those things come down to one thing: the people that are in charge of the government of Nigeria. Unfortunately, the people we have now, this gang of people that have captured Nigeria, they are persons that are controlled by the IMF and World Bank. And it's not only people in government. It's unfortunate. The people that have been captured, that, yes, have been captured by the IMF and World Bank, I'd like to use that word, who have in turn now captured Nigeria. These are people that cut across 7 major categories or 7 major sectors of the Nigerian life or the Nigerian economy: politics, tradition, religion, education, entertainment, media, and what now? There's a 7th one. I can't remember. When I remember, I'll say it. I used to know these things. Let me take them again: politics, education, religion, entertainment, education, business. That's the 7th one. Business. So we have politics, tradition, religion, entertainment, media, business, and education. Those are the 7 sectors of the Nigerian economy that have been captured. Yes, they have been captured by this elite group of people in the US-led West that are in control of the IMF and the World Bank. And these 7 sectors of the economy are now being used to make sure that Nigeria continues to remain in consumption and not in production. So if we are looking at the Peter Obi solution, the Peter Obi plan to fix Nigeria, we must look at it from the lenses of these 7 sections of the Nigerian life. How do we take Nigeria away from consumption into production? If you look at all the 7 sections I mentioned, they promote consumption. They all promote consumption. The religion is now a tool used to promote consumption, because every of the equipment and resources and materials you need to promote religion, all of them, they come from outside. They are produced outside. So that way, when we promote religion, then we are promoting consumption, because we are not producing any of the items here in Nigeria. The same thing for tradition. In fact, our tradition has been so infiltrated that our traditional rulers that are custodians of our tradition are now corrupted by products and services from the West. So you see them, they're driving Rolls Royces, they are drinking expensive champagne and wines. In fact, beer and coke are now part of our traditional wedding or burial ceremonies. All these are things that make sure that we continue to be consumers and not producers. That's for our tradition. Our politics, in fact, that one, they make sure that it is only people with questionable character, people they can control, that get into political offices, so that those people can continue to enact policies that make sure we remain consumers and not producers. Policies like increase in price of products and services in the name of fuel subsidy or any subsidy removal, devaluation of our naira, and privatization of government or state-owned resources. Those are policies. So they make sure that the political system is closed, only open to people that are money bags that have questionable character, only open to those. And it is only those they can control that they allow to rule. I'm talking about the IMF and the World Bank now. So they have captured the political sphere. Our education right now, you will agree with me, is no education at all. It is a sham. It is a scam. The education that we get in Nigeria should not be described as education. In fact, the best we can describe it is the pursuit of certificates. People are pursuing certificates now, not education. So people are comfortable buying WAEC results, pay for special center, buying JAM results, even buying university degrees, or those who don't even buy, they just go, they just cram, useless things that do not contribute to the Nigerian economy in any way. You have graduates that graduate and yet not employable. They cannot create any job. The education we have now is designed to make sure that we do not produce anything. And this is key. It is designed to make sure that we do not produce anything, that we continue to be a consumption economy. So it has been captured. When you hear that the government is making investment into education, think about it, follow the money. You will find out that the money actually goes back to the US-led West, it goes back to the North, it goes to China. Our investment in education in Nigeria does not remain in Nigeria. And that is what they want. The whole essence of the system that the IMF and World Bank has imposed on us as Nigerians is to make sure that we continue to remain a consumption economy and not a production one. And that is why the statement from consumption to production does not sit well with many of these people. Okay, you take our entertainment. You would almost think that entertainment helps the average Nigerians to create job. But the answer is no. If there is any contribution, help that the entertainment industry contributes to the Nigerian economy, it is maybe 10%. Entertainment in Nigeria, whether sports, whether fashion, whether cosmetics, whether movies, whether comedies, whether music, entertainment in Nigeria is advert for Western corporations. It's advert for the global North. It's advert for them. The monies that are made in entertainment, the bulk of it goes to America, to Europe, to China. The bulk of it, whether it's from streaming your music or streaming your movies, whether it is in buying the equipment that you use for music or making your movies or doing comedy shows or fashion, the fabrics for the fashion, even when they are sold in Nigeria here, made in Nigeria here, the fabrics are imported because we don't make any fabrics. So you see that the investment, the monies that are made from entertainment in Nigeria, 70 to 80% of it goes away to foreign countries. People brag that, Davido shut down O2. Where does that money go? Does that money come back to Nigeria? It doesn't even enter Nigeria, because when a Davido or a Wizkid or a Burna Boy or an Asake, when they engage in shutting down O2 Arena, the monies that they make, those pounds, first of all, about half of it goes to tax, which goes back to the British government, and which directly, of course, benefits the British economy. And then another major part of it goes to the show organizers, which are the big music companies, the record label owners. The bulk of it goes to them, the Sony Music, the BMI, and the likes that have signed these, our so-called superstars. The bulk of that money goes to them. And then you see, where it is even sad is this. The remainder of the money that comes to even the artists, right? Maybe like 10% or 20% that comes to even the artist. What does the artist spend that small bulk portion of the money on? He spends it on buying Rolls Royce, he spends it on buying gold chains, he spends it on buying designer wear, he spends it on buying imported alcohol, the Moet, the Rosé, the all of those things. So at the end of the day, all of those monies, they never even get to Nigeria. Even those that get to Nigeria, they go out. Where the most money people make from club these days is from selling imported drinks, from selling imported brands, alcoholism. And you see, it is a dual-edged sword of destruction. Because on the one hand, the money is made from entertainment goes out of Nigeria. On the second hand, the influence that entertainment has on Nigeria is not an influence that is productive. It's an influence that is destructive. It is an influence that pushes us more in the path of consumption. Consume alcohol, consume pornography, consume drugs, consume what now? Yes, consumption in those lines. That's the influence we get from entertainment. So a Davido sings, gambling, consumption. And when you have people who are gamblers, who consume drugs, people who consume alcohol, people who consume imported so-called products in terms of fashion, designer wears, designer shoes, designer wristwatches. All of those things put us in the path of consumption more and more and more. So the net effect of entertainment is that it is a tool to make sure that we continue to be in consumption and never become a production economy. The same thing with our education, we've talked about that. The same thing with our religion, we've talked about that. The same thing with our tradition, we've talked about that. In fact, our tradition, if I might even add this, many people are advocating that we go back to our traditional religion. You know, they say that we are painting our babalawos bad, that when things like they do in our babalawos are done out there, we call them innovation, but when it's done in Africa, it is called, it's bad. The truth must be told. The biggest enablers of corruption in Nigeria today, they are the babalawos. They are our traditional religion. The biggest enablers, the traditional rulers enable the corrupt politicians because the corrupt politicians have power to sack them. That's the one, on the one hand. Then you see that the traditional rulers, right, have their oracle, traditional religion practitioners, those who practice practitioners, right? Those who practice traditional religion, the shrines and all that. They say, oh, instead of asking politicians to swear by the Bible or the Quran, that we should ask the politicians to swear by the shrine, by Ogun, by Amadioha, by this, by that. And then I asked the question, who is the biggest enabler of these corrupt politicians? Before these politicians go for elections, they go to these same shrines. They go to the shrines to receive power. In fact, they have to do very dastardly things. Pound day-old babies, sacrifice their mothers or fathers or loved ones, do all manner of things to these same shrines for the shrine to give them power to win the election. So what difference will it make if you now bring the shrine to come and say, take oath of office? It won't make anything because even the tradition has been infiltrated. I talked about how even the shrines now are relying heavily on imported goods, imported designer cars, imported designer wares, designer clothes, imported money. They like dollar now more than even naira. So religion has been infected and infiltrated. Education, media. You discover that the media in Nigeria right now does not exist to provide information that will inspire people to be more creative, to be more patriotic, to do things that will move Nigeria out of consumption into production. They are not doing that. What the media is doing is simply becoming very perfect echo chamber where different media is echoing what they think their base want. They're echoing it, saying the same things. In fact, the media in Nigeria, let me even say this now, only provides adverts for corrupt politicians on a daily basis. Media in Nigeria is providing adverts for corrupt politicians, providing adverts for the corruption of Nigerians through any of the 7 means. That's what the media in Nigeria is doing. So if we want to take Nigeria out of consumption into production, we have to take care of these 7 sections. And the worst of it all is the business. Business people, business moguls, people have yielded themselves to the IMF and the World Bank. People like the likes of Aliko Dangote, the likes of Femi Otedola and co. Those that are engaging in big business, quote and unquote. They have now become susceptible to the influence and control of IMF and World Bank linked corporations in the name of getting loans and getting equity funding. And because the IMF is simply interested in making sure that they own us and that we continue to be a raw material source for them, they are glad to use those people. And so they have used the like of Aliko Dangote, the like of Femi Otedola. They are being used to implement business policies that are not in our interest. Even when on the surface it appears as though a Dangote refinery is in the interest of Nigeria, the operation of Dangote refineries is clear to us now that is not in our interest. It is in the interest of the owners of Dangote Refinery, who are the IMF and the World Bank. You get? So the business sector, we need to rejig all of these things to make sure that whatever solutions that we bring are solutions that are indigenous to us, which we can do. We have very bright and brilliant brains in Nigeria. We can do it. So this Peter Obi's approach to fixing Nigeria, to taking Nigeria out of consumption into production, is only possible when we realize the influence of these 7 sections of the Nigerian economy. But the question remains, will these people ever allow Peter Obi or people like Peter Obi to implement this solution to free Nigeria from consumption and put it on the path of production? That is the $1 million question. But then we have a $1 million answer. It is possible, and it's a two-pronged approach. We've talked about it before. The two-pronged approach is on this channel. If you have been following us, you know it. On the one hand, we have to do something to free Nigerians from the trap of poverty they have been caught in by the manipulations of the IMF and the World Bank through these 7 sections of the Nigerian economy, free them from the poverty trap, and then on the other hand, open up the political space so that patriotic Nigerians, not Nigerians with dual citizenship, many don't know that a lot of the persons in all of these 7 sectors have dual citizenship. Even our traditional rulers now have dual citizenship. Can you beat that? Our traditional rulers have dual citizenship. So a lot of these persons in this space are interested in making sure that their interests are covered. They are not interested in the interest of Nigeria. So for us to get Nigerians out of that trap, we need to do some very serious things in this leadership area. We need to open up the leadership space. And the only way to do that, because constitutionally, it is only elections that is legitimate as a means to removing people from leadership positions. So unfortunately, the only option we have is elections. That is the only option. And for us to have free, fair, and credible elections, we need the people invested. Voter apathy is on the increase. We need to solve that. And the only way to solve that is by bringing credible leaders out. And for us to have credible leaders come out, we have to take care of the political party situation. A situation whereby the political parties charge very high nomination fees for nomination forms, and people are made to spend billions of naira to run elections that they are not sure of winning. That situation must stop. And in order for it to stop, we must create a new political party. And that is why we are floating the Abundance Party of Nigeria. Abundance Party of Nigeria. So it's either you are helping us free Nigerians from the trap of corruption that they have been caught in by implementing the social welfare law, the food and social welfare law. You're helping us implement it, or you are helping us to create a new political party so that we can have a new set of leaders that are patriotic, new set of leaders that are not under the control of the IMF and the World Bank, a new set of leaders that are patriotic, that have integrity, so that we can rapidly move Nigeria out of consumption into production. Is this something that you're interested in? I'm sure it is. So join us in this quest. Check the link in the description. Give us a call. Send us your questions via email or whatever the means. Let's take back this country. It is very, very possible for us to do so.